Good day, everyone. I am Narciso Madeira.
I am Wilhelmus Beribe.
We are students of University of the West Indies, and we'll be presenting on the topic, what is knowledge?
First episode, and our topic is what is knowledge? Knowledge is the information, data, or ability that they have gained through experience and education. And as a result, knowledge is the information we have stored in our minds, our memories, as a result of our sense of experience, reason, and observation. Those who have been with us since we were born, or we call innate knowledge. There are some things we know and some things we don't know about each other. We can ask the question, where does knowledge come from? Like, for example, in Plato described that knowledge is innate, existing in belonging to, or determined by factors present in an individual from birth, luck, or hopes. Our knowledge is like a blank slate or tabula rasa. Theory proposes that beyond a very few basic instincts, our experiences shape us entirely. By rationalism, all knowledge derived from reason, while empiricism, all knowledge is derived from experience. A universal definition of knowledge, such as knowledge, has the benefit of being able to justify true belief. One of the most important things we have to understand about justified true beliefs is what determines a standard of knowledge. Organizations require information in order to succeed, and standards provide it in a concise way. They may be able to supply a number of beneficial capabilities that enable us and the second part, I'm talking about the sources of knowledge. There are many ways to get knowledge. We will then consider sources that offer greater reliability and ultimately discuss using science as a means of gaining knowledge. First is gaining knowledge through superstition, means acquiring knowledge that is based on subjective feelings, interpreting random even as non-random events, as believing in magical events. For example, you may have heard someone say bad things happen in the trees. Where does the idea come from? As far as I know, the study has ever documented and that bad events occur in this tree. Yet people frequently say this is an act as if they believe it. We gain knowledge through intuition. It means that we have knowledge of something without being consciously or aware of where the knowledge came from. You have probably heard people say things like, I don't know. It's just a strange feeling. Or I don't know, it just came to me and I know it's true. And these statements represent examples of intuition. Sometimes we intuit something based not on a strange feeling, but on events we have observed. And the third is the knowledge through authority. You may have gained much of your own knowledge through authority figures. As you were growing up, your parents provided you the information that for the most part you did not question, especially when you were very young. We experienced that. You believed that they knew when they were talking about, and thus you accepted the answers they gave you. You have probably also gained knowledge from teachers, from you viewed as authority figures, and accept information imparted by those they view as authority figures. Historically, for example, in some time periods in our cultures, the church and the leaders were responsible for providing much of knowledge that individuals gain throughout the course of their lives. And the last is gaining knowledge through, not the last, but the fifth is gaining knowledge through rationalism. It involves logical reasoning. And with this approach, ideas are precisely stated. Our ideas, we reason out, and our logical reasoning, and that logical rules are applied to arrive at a logically sound conclusion. Rational ideas are often presented in the form of a syllogism. For example, example of the all humans are mortal, and I am a human, therefore I am mortal. And the sixth is knowledge through empiricism. It involves gaining knowledge through objective observation and the experiences of your senses. We perceive by our senses. An individual who says, "I believe nothing until I see it with my own eyes," is an empiricist. The empiricist gains knowledge by seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. Now I'm going to the third part, is Plato justified true belief and knowledge. The definition of knowledge has long honored by the philosophers. And Plato is one of the founder of Western philosophy. He tackled this very question around 400 BC. According to him, according to his philosophy, in order to have knowledge, one must also have justified true belief. And each of these terms for him are necessary for the existence of knowledge. In order to understand Plato's vision of knowledge, we must first make a concrete distinction between knowledge and belief. Essentially, belief is akin to an opinion. It is one person's viewpoint that is not necessarily grounded in any facts. A person could believe that the earth revolves around the moon. It's opinion. The person could even believe that these are facts, yet without a means to prove these facts as more than hypotheses. They remain opinion or belief rather than knowledge. And within Plato's his formula, knowledge implies belief inherently. Just as one must have belief to have knowledge, it is also requirement that it be the true belief. One cannot know something that is untrue. It would be impossible to find a person that they know that 1 + 1 = 5. And he postulates that reality outside of what a common human experience exists. He goes on to prove his theory by comparing human experiences through their senses to those of the caveman looking at shadow play on the cave walls. the cavemen have never truly experienced anything. But they compel to accept that there is a reality much appreciated to those shadows. Plato claims that there is a reality outside of that. For example, when we are talking about cavemen, there's something or somebody outside the cave that makes a difference, extend those shadows. And Plato's justified true belief applies in the simplest cases of knowledge, where knowledge is based on a belief that is composed of relation of the mind to some object outside of itself, and the correspondence of belief and the subject independent object can be checked. And since his discourse tend to see things, a nearly widely accepted explanation of the concept of knowledge has been that knowing is justified through belief. To begin with, the idea is that in order to know something, one must believe it. Thank you, and we will meet again in the next episode.